Hey guys, Drifter here. Today I've got a video for you about the lenses through which we see the world around us. And it's a topic that's been on my mind for the last couple of days, and I thought it would be a fun one to explore together. It actually came to me as a Call of Duty related subject, hence the Call of Duty gameplay, Blackout of course. But the thought came to me while I was driving to the gym and trying to think of ways to improve Black Ops 4 Blackout. I think Blackout is great. It's a really fun mode. I like it better than multiplayer and I play it all the time, but it has problems. The audio is garbage. I don't like the armor system. I don't like the storm damage. I don't like that I can't put attachments on my zombies guns, and lots of things that if I were God or David Vonderhaar, I would of course change. And I was talking about this on Twitter and I had fans tell me that, well, why don't you just advocate for the change? Why don't you just make Treyarch make the changes that you want? And I was like, I can't make Treyarch do anything, can I? And I sat down and think about it, and I just started thinking like, okay, if I really wanted to change Call of Duty, if I wanted to just like throw it all on the table and go all out and make an impression, change the game, how would I do it? And I thought about dozens of different things, and ultimately I only arrived at one conclusion, which was make a video. But what does making a video do exactly? Does it force them to make changes? Does it mess with their money? Does it affect the world in such a great way that they have to do what I say? More importantly, why would I ever even think that making a video about a subject is a good idea? Or more specifically, why is it the only idea? When I sat down and I thought about it for a little bit more, I was like, well, anytime I don't like something, I think about making a video about it. If something is broken, I make a video. If I don't like global warming, I make a video. If I don't like anti-vaxxers, I make a video. And I really sat down and I thought, and I'm like, well, it's probably because I have a limited view of the world, or as a different way to say it, I'm viewing the entire world around me through my own personal lens. Mine is primarily that of a YouTuber, which would be similar to a media person, influencer, director, debatably artist. I don't really consider what I do to be art, but a creative type person. And in my worldview, the thing that I do every day, the job that I do, the life that I live, everything, all the information that I take in order to do this, makes me think that in order to get things done, all I have to do is demonstrate a good idea and make sure that a lot of people see it. Because if the idea is good, it's visually appealing, it's simple, lots of people see it, the change is just going to happen. It's just going to happen. Once everybody agrees, it's just going to happen. And of course, this isn't true at all. This doesn't consider money, effort, legality, literal possibility or impossibility of things, human nature, 1,000 different other factors, but my brain just says, hey, make a video, that'll solve the problem. And it's because my life's journey and the experiences that I've had have refined my view up to this point. They have influenced me enough to where I think making a video is a good idea. And I took a step back and I thought about it, and I was like, I wonder what other people probably see the way to change the world. And I thought back to when I wasn't doing YouTube videos, when I had a totally different life and I wasn't here doing this media thing. Of course, I had different ideas on how to change things, primarily college ones, which we'll get into in a little bit. But if you went around the world and picked a whole bunch of different people from different walks of life and asked them, how do you think you could best affect change? How could you make this big change that you want, doesn't really matter what it is, happen? Well, if you ask a businessman, like for example Elon Musk, he might tell you you need a good business plan, you need economic incentives, and that nothing like the free market and people working hard to make money can make that happen. You want to tie what you want, in this example it's a lot of green energy and space technology and stuff, to some sort of business plan, and people will work hard chasing that money. If you went to a professor at a university and you asked a professor, okay, you want to change something, how would you do that? The professor would probably tell you to do a study and get it published in a really prestigious peer-reviewed journal so that nobody in the entire world could objectively disagree with you and everybody would know that this is fantastic and that what you like is right. If you went to ask a musician, songwriter perhaps, they would tell you that you have to move people's hearts, not their minds, that you need something spiritual in the music that connects with them and gets them moving en masse, that gets them thinking about things they'd never thought before. If you went to go talk to an engineer would probably tell you that you need an invention that changes everything. You need an Iron Man-esque level global change of technology. You need something mind-blowingly better, and that thing that they make can change what it is. If you talk to a politician, they will primarily talk to you about levying or relieving taxes, perhaps subsidies. It's the opposite of a tax. They're going to talk about what to tax, who to tax, where to move the money, and possibly legal restrictions as well, because that's inside their abilities to just make something illegal or impossible to do. If you want to go talk to a priest would tell you to pray to God, perhaps, or perhaps tell you if it's God's will, maybe, maybe not. And if you want to go talk to a YouTuber like me, they would tell you to make a big video, make something important, impressive, that goes all over the world, like Kony 2012, which it was as good of a job as you could do at getting the word out on YouTube. Unfortunately, it just didn't change anything. And all of these things, all of these perspectives on how to solve a problem is only one part of this picture. The reality is that we see a solution to a problem based on how we see the world around us. And how we see the world is built up by so many different factors and so many different circumstances that's outside of our control. It's actually impossible for us to fully comprehend. I don't even think we could get a computer to do all of this. I mean, things like, where were you born? That's always important. Where did you move to after you were born? What's your income level? What kind of education did you get? Not just level of education, what kind? Did you get a religious education, scientific education, arts education? What class are you in the country you live in? Every single country on this planet has a high class and a low class and lots of tiers in the middle with their own different sort of social rules. The experiences that you have in your class, being at the top or the bottom or somewhere in the middle and following the rules and how you're supposed to interact with different people, can shape your experiences wildly. Not even mentioning the experiences that you have with your parents, good, bad, ugly, positive, supporting, all the things that they taught you based on what they experienced in their life, which is a whole different random set of factors. Your friends, good friends, bad friends, supportive friends. Are you the supportive friend? The media that you listen to, super influential. You're obviously, those of you are here on YouTube listening to me. You can choose your slant, your input. You can ignore all of that and read vlogs. Not just this stuff, but your life experiences, just how things have panned out for you overall. Did you get in a car wreck? Have you been in a plane crash? Have you been bit by a snake? Do you like fluffy animals? Did the fluffy animals bite you? I'm focusing really hard on the negative stuff, but so many different things can happen in your life that shape your perspective about another aspect, and to no small degree, just luck. Some people can make no mistakes and make good choices and just be naturally unlucky, and they end up being skittish for no logical reason. People are like onions, many, many layers, deep, complicated thinking machines, and behind any decision, there is a huge set of experiences that your brain will pull on to try to determine some sort of optimal solution. And by huge, I'm going to do a very quick and simple example. Imagine today a friend sends you a text message and they ask if you want to go out and eat, and you say yes. And they ask, okay, do you want to go to this new restaurant that I heard about, or do you want to go to your favorite place? Just think about that for a minute and think about which one you would choose. In this small amount of time, you've had to think, you've made your choice, and your brain will have gone through some, if not all of these things, consciously or subconsciously. Your brain will reference the number of times that you liked new things, just how your experiences have panned out. Did you enjoy this new restaurant? What if you had 3 new restaurants in a row that were just kind of bad? You might not be as likely. How much do you like the old place? Like, how good is your favorite place? And the list of things that you've experienced, and more accurately, why do you like it? Do you like your favorite place because the food is the highest quality? Because it's got a really good value? Some people value value. Is it the ambiance? Is it a comfortable place? Is it because the staff like you there? The waitress smiles at you. It could have something to do with how safe you feel trying new things. Often this relates to childhood and how your parents raised you, and if your parents were cruel or supportive, or if other kids bullied you, or if you had some accidents as a child, like actual traumatic ones, and that all of that is to some degree luck. Sometimes kids have tried new things and struggled and failed, and they're just turned off to new stuff for life, or the opposite. You can ask if you're empathetic. You think, not what do I want, but what does my friend want? Is my friend trying to convince me to go to this new place, or does he really want to know what I want? Some people don't care. Some people aren't big on empathy, and they just like, what do I want? cost can be a huge important factor if you value money, if you have money, how much money you have, of course, and not if you value money, but if you literally value new experiences because of the media inputs you've got. This is sort of a millennial thing, and it's something you'll see here on YouTube and the Travel Channel and all over the internet, is that people value an experience. They value a vacation. They value going to see Machu Picchu. They value going to the beach. They value petting dolphins or kayaking or mountain bike hiking or just something. That's a relatively new thing in our society, but people are convinced that collecting experiences is better than collecting things, and that could be a value that you have, and you value this new restaurant not in that it's good or bad or what you want or don't, but rather that it fills your little checklist of if you like new things or not. And that's a small list. You probably run through thousands of more things, and this exact same thought process can apply to literally anything in your life, anything that you see, any decision you make, and that's kind of the big idea behind this video. It's a little bit hard to comprehend when you stop and think about it. When you see a color, how much does your brain like it? When you see this red shirt, probably a little distorted through the green screening process. Is it negative? Is it positive? What sort of reflections do they have on you? What are your experiences with things that are green in the past? And all of these perspectives don't have to necessarily be true in the objective sense. As a matter of fact, most of them aren't objectively true, and for the sake of simplicity in today's video, we're going to avoid the idea that there's no such thing as objectivity and that's made up by perspective as well, because we're just going to keep it a little bit simple. So these perspectives don't have to be objectively true, but they're very true to you. The things you do or don't like or want or how to solve a problem or have bias towards are 100% true to you and your experiences and where you're from and what you've learned in life and what people have told you. However, there are people with the exact opposite experiences than you, or experiences that you never even considered could have happened, that will hold different objective truths in their heart, and they will literally see the world through a different lens than you. If you have red glasses on and you see everything red, the other guy might have green glasses on and see everything green. It can be mind-blowingly different. So I think that most of us know this in some capacity, but sometimes it's fun to think about it, to say it out loud, to really kind of explore the magnitude of the human mind. And given this information, there are two simple things that you can do to make yourself smarter. Number one is to stop and think about why you prefer one thing or believe in one thing. You just anything in your life, you just stop and think about why. And the best way that I can think about this is playing the childish game of asking why. When your kid is annoyed with you, when they want you to tell you more, they just ask you why. No matter what you say, they just ask why 6, 7, 8 times over. But this childish game is very useful for introspective. I'm going to do it right now, slightly planned, but I'm going to follow my own trail. If I ask myself, what is my favorite dessert? I'll sit here and I'll think for a second and I'll say, my favorite dessert is going to be some form of peanut butter ice cream. That can be peanut butter ice cream itself, chocolate with peanut butter ribbons, peanut butter cups, chocolate peanut butter caramel, a lot of different things, but roughly peanut butter ice cream. And then you ask, why? And I'm like, well, peanut butter and ice cream is my favorite flavor. Okay, well, why is it your favorite flavor? I was like, well, I really enjoy sweet things, and I also enjoy the salty sort of nature in the peanut butter that balances it out. And you'll say, well, why do you enjoy sweet things? And well, in my case, the answer is that sweets were used as a reward for a child, so I had them often, and it activates the reward center of my brain, and I think they taste good. Well, what about peanut butter? That's not really sweet. Did salty really reward you? And I have to sit here and I think for a minute, and I think that I learned what my favorite food was on one of the hardest days of my life. I was working super hard on a roofing company. I did like a 10 or 11 hour shift, hot tar. I was just baking out there. I was dehydrated. I was tired. It was like the first time in my life that I was making real money so that I could kind of choose what food to eat and what I liked and didn't really like, and it wasn't just fed to me. And I remember having a little bit of money because I'd earned it, and I went to Baskin-Robbins, and I was like, walked up there, and I could order anything I wanted to satiate my thirst because I was dehydrated. I don't know why I wanted ice cream, right? And I was almost overwhelmed by choice, and I stared at the board and I just said, I want peanut butter ice cream, and we're going to add like a ribbon of caramel in it and some stuff like that. And I sat down and I ate it, and that ice cream was delicious, just in the very objective sense that it tastes good, it's sweet, I liked it. But it also allowed me to feel rewarded for my work, that my time that day wasn't a waste. There was some meaning behind it. It made me feel good because it was something that I earned with my own like real sweat, with my effort. It was my thing that I did. It was one of the first things that I really did myself. You know, it's small. And I was dehydrated. I was just like about to pass out, and that just revitalized me and made me feel great. And I think to this day, the reason that I like peanut butter ice cream is because my brain is still referencing that event from almost 10 years ago, and it activates all those different reward centers at once. So that's one small example. That's an easy one. Having this kind of perspective on everything in your life is difficult, but it's a good practice to have. And the step 2 on this, the other thing that you can do is try very hard to imagine somebody that has had completely the opposite experience of you. Just somebody that if you bet on black and won, they bet on red and lost. If your parents were kind, their parents were mean. If your friends were supportive, their friends weren't. If they were lucky all the time, you were unlucky all the time. Just exactly the opposite. And you think that if everything they experienced was opposite, how might they see the world as different than you? How might they disagree with you on which things are better or worse or smarter or dumber or good or bad or ugly? Because everything that they've done is the opposite of you, and this gives you perspective not only on yourself, but on the people around you, thus making you a better person. Guys, that is kind of the idea for today's video. Just something on my mind, something I wanted to talk about. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you learned something useful. If you did, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. Drifter out.